Hi, Amber. How are
Hey,
you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for joining me. I know how valuable your time is, so I really appreciate it.
No problem. No problem. Really. I don't mind.
Awesome. Great. Well, it's so good. Let's go ahead and get started. Tell me a little bit about how old your little boy is and where you go to school.
So I go to school at UNC Charlotte. It's a dual program with the hospital there, Carolina's Medical Center. And it's master's level program. It's 2.5 years, 27 months.
Awesome.
Not counting down.
Yeah.
And Rowan is my son, and he's 1.5. He's 16 months old. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's crazy.
So when did you start the program then, and how old was he when you started?
So he was exactly 1 when I started.
Okay, so relatively new. Okay, I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if it was a DNP, but you're in a master's, so that changes things.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's
Okay.
our program is changing to a DNP this year,
Okay.
actually, or this coming group is going to be a DNP. But yeah. So I originally was in for the class of 2020, which was the one ahead of us, and I was going to have my due date, which he was born on his due date. My due date was literally the day of orientation, like in the middle of the 7-day, like full on all day orientation.
Oh.
And I'm a new mom. Like, I don't have more than one child.
Right.
So I've never done any of this in my entire life. None of it. And
You're brave.
So,
I'm just saying you're brave.
yeah. So luckily my program has you can defer.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had talked to the program person, our director, and decided that was probably the best thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I was full on ready to just do it. I was like, I do not do the things I say I'm going to do. This is what I want. And, I
you don't regret your decision.
Yeah. I thought I could do it, which I might have been able to, but to be the best of both things,
Right.
Best student, making the best CRNA, and the best mom I felt that I could be, was the one that waited. So I waited a year, and so literally his birthday was the 17th of August. I started the Monday after that.
Yeah. Okay. All right, cool. Well, that's great. Because, honestly, I think it's going to be hard no matter what people decide to do, but that time is so precious. I have 2 kids myself, and to be that underneath that much stress and have a new baby on top of it, people do it, but I don't know how they do. It sounds like way too much stress to me.
Way too much.
Yeah. But so tell me kind of how things have been going so far. Obviously, you're relatively new at it, but have you started clinical yet?
We start clinical in a couple weeks.
Okay.
So I have a plan.
Yeah.
So there's that. But so far, school, it has been very hard, to do this. But I just think this is short term, So my days pretty much look like, if I wake up, I still nurse my son. He's 16 months old. And so that means, people can do that too,
Right.
So, but so I would get ready, get up, and I have a commute as well. I have almost an hour commute.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So if I can do it, anybody can do it.
That's more study time. You just record your lectures, right?
I do. I record it and I listen to it over and over and over again in the car. But, so yeah, I wake up, I nurse my son, put him back down, and I fully rely on my family. They watch him all the time. And I check in with him throughout class days and everything. And I go to class and I listen to lecture on the way there, and, I'm constantly checking in on him too. And we got a baby kid.
Yeah. I know, it's so hard to be away.
Yeah. It's hard to be away, but, I know he's being taken care of, and it's not as hard on him as it is on me.
Right. Yeah. He won't remember it. Yeah.
No, he won't.
Yeah.
Clinical days are going to be a little bit harder, but I've got that planned out. So
you said you have family that kind of watches him during the day. Are they going to be the ones helping you kind of like make sure he's obviously not in daycare? He's not in daycare, nope. Right? Okay. So just family all day. So that's awesome. So you don't have to worry about that, like pick up and all that stuff. And you have someone to
Yes.
watch him when he's sick, kind of
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah, luckily we're very close. My in-laws, so we kind of live on a compound.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my next door neighbor is my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law and my father-in-law.
Oh, cool.
And then
Okay.
his grandma is right across the street.
Okay. Well, wow.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of family. That's great.
Lots of
That'll
family.
save you. Yeah.
It's saving my butt, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
But so yeah, and they are all just attached to him. I would never say as much as I am, but
It's family.
But,
it's different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, they love him like no other. So that they've taken care of him. He's only been sick once. Much harder
Awesome.
on me, I think. But you know,
That's great.
They,
oh my gosh,
yeah,
I can't imagine. Our kids are sick. I mean, I'm literally don't know how I'm like surviving. But yeah, our kids are constantly sick. Daycare.
Yeah,
but,
I feel like when you have more than one, they just like pass back and forth to each other, and then as they get older and they're in school.
Yeah, our son's 3.5, and he's finally more sturdy. But like for the first 2 years of their lives, oh my gosh, it's like every week. I mean, literally, if we get a week where they're not sick, that's like a good break.
I know. Oh, bless your heart.
That's good. So family, less exposure to sickness, and because that's stressful too to worry about a sick kid when you're at clinical. And I know you haven't gotten into clinical yet, but I do know as an SRNA, you're not always guaranteed to get out on time. So it's kind of definitely stressful, especially if you're depending on yourself to pick up your children. And I do try to warn a lot of people that you have to think about backup plans to pick up your kids and take them to their soccer practice or whatever it may be, because your obligation is clinical and being a student, even though it breaks your heart to think that way, because and trust me, I know in your heart, it's like, I'm mom, number one.
Right.
But in school, it's kind of one of those things you kind of just have to suck up and make that your priority at the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so kind of tell me how have you been allocating your time for studying?
So my son has a very structured schedule. He actually did that on his own. I didn't make him do anything. He takes his 2 naps a day and he goes to bed at 8.
Oh my gosh, still 2 naps a day?
2 naps a day.
Oh my gosh.
He's transitioning to
awesome.
1. Yeah, he's transitioning to 1. So some days there's 1. That's kind of hard to tell people, how to do that. But so I definitely study during nap times. Sometimes I take a nap when he naps because I'm up a lot of the night.
Right.
Yeah, and so most of my studying is as soon as he goes to bed. I literally make a coffee at 8:00 at night.
Okay. And how late do you normally stay up at night to study?
Now I'll only stay up till like 11 or 11:30 because I'm like, I got to get a little bit of sleep, But yeah, and he does not sleep the best in the world. He does not. He does not sleep all night.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
we'll
never back to 1 nap a night or a day. I mean, maybe.
Yeah, we'll keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I'm just kind of like, whatever.
He struggled for 2 years with our son. Like, he never slept all night
somehow.
He was 2. Yeah. It's sometimes some kids just don't. I mean, but you just never know what kind of baby you're gonna get.
You don't.
But you're living proof that it's possible and people can do it. So, that's awesome. And I also want to ask you, is there anything else you kind of considered financially when knowing you're going to have, I mean, you don't have to pay for daycare, which is awesome. But like, I know there's obviously a lot of other expenses to go into having children. Yeah. So is there anything extra you did to kind of prepare for that financially?
Honestly, so I worked my tail off in as a nurse. I mean, I worked, and this was before I had Rowan, but my goal was to go to CRNA school, so I worked tons of overtime as much as I could before I had him. So I had a savings account. Now I did not have enough to cover one tuition, let alone having a child. So a lot of what we're going off of is loans. But there's great student loans out there. And so that's part of my, what's getting me through this is like, I got to pay my student loans.
Right.
Got to be able to pay my loans.
And you will.
Yeah.
You're not going to have a problem. It'll be okay.
You know how it is. Everybody, it's just hard.
Yeah. I had $150,000 student loans, and I've been out for 5 years now, and I only have I haven't looked exactly in a while, but I think 38,000 is what I have left. That's awesome. With me not really. After about 1.5 years, I consolidated my loans. I think my government loans are like 6.8%, some of them, I actually had better private loans than my government loans. So people kind of forget about the private sector. They kind of get all the government loans, but sometimes you get better interest rates with the private loans.
Right.
And then when you're done with school, refinance as soon as you can. And I refinanced on to 3.25%.
Wow,
that's because I opened a banking account and have automatic payment set up. So they knocked a little bit of interest off. But I mean, So I mean, pretty much it's like, very little interest. And I set up for a 5-year repayment plan.
That's
so
awesome.
Even though I could probably pay more, I just figured it's 5 years, just set it, forget it kind of thing. It's money I don't have. Yeah, so you'll be okay. I mean, it can be done. My first year out, I paid off $30-some thousand. But then we bought a house and I got pregnant and we had to buy a new roof for the house. And it was like, oh my God, literally all the money you had paid on the debt, we all like incurred back with the house and the baby. So it was kind of a wash, but it's okay. Life goes on and you'll get through it. But yeah, money's a big concern. So it's good to know that you're okay with taking out loans. And I think people shouldn't be afraid of that avenue.
I don't think so either. Because I mean, they're there to help you. And honestly, I mean, I'm first to say I take all of the help that I can get, financially, and then my family, I couldn't do this without them. Absolutely. Because he's young and he requires a lot of attention. And, so, I mean, they make it possible. So, I mean, like I said, I took out loans and I plan on repaying them back when I get done. And I'm just trying not to think about it.
Yes. Yeah. Don't worry about it.
Luckily, our school, UNC Charlotte, is actually one of the cheaper colleges in the area. Yeah, so it's really not bad at all.
Yeah, no, that's great. I mean, my actual grad school is only 30, how much? It was like 38, I want to say, or maybe 36 for the entire thing. But I had $80,000 undergrad loans from my 5-year BSN.
Yeah.
So that's actually where I had most of my loans. And then I took out some living while I was in grad school as well. Right. Because technically my husband was making about $40,000 a year. So for 2 people to live on $40,000 a year, I mean, it's, we needed a little extra to get by, and we didn't have any kids at the time. So I can only imagine. Yeah. But yeah, it's possible. And then what was the other thing I was going to, I can't remember. Say was some of the people I talked to tell me that they've had to prepare their husband to almost be like a single parent. Have you kind of found that? Like, do you ever feel like he's doing everything on his own a lot of the times because you just can't help out as much? Or how have you guys been handling that situation?
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, because what I would tell people is you have to be okay. Even if you were not okay with having a messy house, you're going to have to be okay with having a messy house. I am the cleanest person, but when I'm in school, I mean, I can't do the dishes. I can't do the laundry. So yeah, he has all of that responsibility. And he felt the weight of it this semester. It was my first semester. So, and I mean, all my time for the most part, because I have to be a good mom. You know what I mean? I have to be a good student, but I also have to be a very good mom. Like, I can't let that go.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I just can't. So I spend a couple hours with him. I'm not cleaning.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Yeah.
When I get home, I'm not cleaning. I'm not doing the dishes.
Yeah.
So yeah, he really stepped up, and
awesome.
I guess
I mean, that's trust me, I've heard it from several people. They're like, yeah, they just they almost ultimately have to be kind of like, single parent a lot of times, so you can spend the quality time with your child, but yet still get your work done that you have to get done. Right. So I think it might not work in every relationship, but I do know, at least for my friends who also went through school who had children, their husbands had to step up to the plate in a big way.
Yeah.
And they made it. I mean, I'm not saying it was a fabulous 2 years where they, didn't grow and learn a lot, maybe not in a, fun way, but I mean, you get through it and you move on, you look back, you're like, oh, we did that. That's cool. And you can have many years in the future to look forward to being one-on-one together and that kind of thing. So
it's definitely, it's short-term.
Yeah. It's a sacrifice.
It is. And he knew that. He knew that going in. We talked about all of this going in. We obviously didn't talk about originally having kids while I was in the program, but, he's surprised.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But But, you know, we talked about all of this, you know, how I wasn't going to be able to do all the things that I normally do.
Right.
And he's going to have a lot more weight on his shoulders. And he did, but he did well. He did well.
Awesome. Okay. And then a few just kind of generic questions that everyone always has these questions, but kind of tell me about how did you know you want to do CRNA and how did you kind of prepare for this career path?
I've always known that I wanted to go into anesthesia. I was a tech for a while before, and I was kind of trying to decide where I wanted to go from there. And I talked to a bunch of people, you know, and they're like, you know what you'd be great at? You'd be good at anesthesia. I'm like, why would I be good at anesthesia? Like, you know, and I knew that I wanted to be in critical care, but they said that I had the personality for it, you know, and so I started researching it and everything. And I was like, yeah, I really, you know, I think I like this. I know I like critical care. And I was a tech on a med surg floor, and I always liked it when everybody came running, you know, whenever somebody coded.
Right.
Don't mean that. You know what I'm saying? You know, all the energy and stuff. So I went to the ICU, and I was there for 4 years, and I loved my job. I really did. I really did. I miss it a lot of times, you know. I don't like not being able to work. But the reason I really decided, I've shadowed anesthesia, obviously. You need to shadow.
Right.
And but I decided, you know, the difference, there's pretty much 2 ways you can go. There's more ways than 2, but pretty much everybody in the ICU, you know, goes either NP or CRNA school. And I decided to go anesthesia because I absolutely cannot stand giving an order to somebody and then waiting for them to do it whenever they feel that it needs to be done. Like, this needs to be done yesterday. I mean, and I need to do it. I want to do it. You know what I'm saying? I need to do the things.
Yeah. You want to be in action, hands-on.
Yeah. So I want to do the things. And so that's, you know, I shadowed and I loved it. So.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Did you find, how many schools did you apply to when it came time to apply?
So I applied to 2 because, so I told you we live on a compound, kind of, you know, all my family's in one little area. So we actually were, I don't want to say given a house because they didn't give it to us, but we lived rent free for a couple of years in a little family house. It was literally one bedroom, 1 bathroom house, you know? And so I was like, we're going to stay here as long as we can, you know, incur as least amount of debt as possible. And I'm going to go local to school.
Okay.
So I applied to Wake Forest, and then I applied to UNC Charlotte. I wanted to go. Wake is an amazing school, but I'm familiar with UNC Charlotte. It's much less expensive. I got into UNC Charlotte. Yeah. So.
Awesome. Did you even interview for Wake? Or I
did interview for Wake. Okay. And I got put on the wait list for the spring, and I found out I had gotten into UNC Charlotte by that point. Yeah. So I'd already accepted.
Yeah, exactly. Well, congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Do you have any questions for me about school or clinical or anything like that?
Oh, Lord. I've had so many questions. Let me tell you, I've had a rough week. I don't know. I really appreciate the advice about the loans, though, about the repayment and the refinancing.
Refinance as soon as you
can.
That is
going to be.
Yeah, I've been told, I thought you had to wait a year, but I've been told by several people you don't have to wait that year. I don't know. I mean, some people are afraid to have credit cards and things like that, so you might not have much of a credit history, but if you have a credit history, I think it's easier to refinance right away.
Oh, good.
So, but if you don't have a credit history, they might want to see a year of work experience prior to refinancing, but I think as long as you have a credit history, it's not a big deal. So definitely do that, because you can cut that interest rate in half. So
did you had kids in CRNA school, or you waited till
I did not, and that's why I'm reaching out, because a lot of people have this concern. My good girlfriend, who we encouraged her for years to go back for CRNA, and she finally did, and after much, we had to keep pushing her. Her little girl was 4 during the program, and she was afraid of that situation. I think she was afraid of missing out and feeling the mom guilt, that kind of thing. But she did it, and her daughter's now 8 years old now, I believe. And I mean, she's happy. She has a career she's always wanted. She has more time now for her family. She can provide better. Her husband's been able to be more flexible with his job because of her job. So, I mean, it's really provided them a lot of financial benefits, and just the schedule, no more weekends, holidays, that kind of thing.
Right.
So yeah, so overall it's good, but she was worried and she got through it. I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't without a tear, but she got through it. So
yeah. There will be tears, but
yeah, but no,
there's tears no matter who you are, whether you have kids or not.
Exactly. So no, we didn't have kids. I can't imagine, because I remember how stressed I was without having kids. We had a dog.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I do remember spending some downtime playing Candy Crush, which I'm sure if I had kids, I could not have done.
Yeah.
I don't do that anymore, but I would come home mindlessly, play Candy Crush for like an hour and waste that time, because that's like how I had to like unwind. But I'm sure if we had kids, I'd play with my kids or something like that. So
yeah, absolutely. And I'm glad you said that, because that brings me to another point. Whenever I took a class ahead of time, by the way, that's a really good idea. If you can take any classes, before your program in a baccalaureate.
Yeah. So was it a prereq, or was it something additional on top of a prereq?
No, it's part of. I took two. You're allowed to take two classes that are in the program.
Gotcha. Oh,
prior to starting the program.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if you're not admitted yet. So I took advanced physiology and biostatistics. So I feel like God placed this in my hands. I really do, because those are two extremely hard classes that if they were still in my curriculum while I have Rowan, I mean, I'd be gone literally 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night this semester.
Oh, wow.
At least 2 of the 5 days a week that I'll be gone.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, so that was a blessing for sure. So if you can do that, I'd tell people to do that if they can. I think there's probably 5 people that didn't take biostatistics ahead of time. So apparently it's a thing.
That's interesting, because it's just so different, because my program, you actually had to have statistics out of the way before you even applied. Like, it was a prereq.
Yeah.
So you had to have that done. And then the pathophysiology, we actually took the leading in. So immediately after we got in, we enrolled for that following January, and we started the program in June. So it was almost a prereq, but you had to be admitted to take it.
Yes.
But yes, it was before we started, because that was a really hard freaking class. I mean, it was like, it was insane. I've never had such a hard, I mean, it was insane. It was insane.
I know. This semester, I was so thankful to have had that out of the way. The advanced physiology was this past semester, and then the biostatistics is this coming semester. So having the physiology out of the way really helped me out. People struggled through that. I thought it was hard when I was by myself. But what I was getting to, about that physiology class is, I didn't really know that was my first grad class. So first, it's good to be able to take a grad class before you start in taking hardcore anesthesia grad classes.
Right.
And so I had a really hard time, and it was my only class, and I'm like, what is this? This is not who I am. I'm good at study. I'm good at things, I'm not stupid,
Yeah.
Why is this so hard for me? And I really learned, I have this cubicle at the library that's right down the street, and we've been BFFs since nursing school, everything, CCRN, CMC, all these things I studied for there. And so I spent probably, I could spend 10 hours a day in that cubicle, before I had Rowan. So having kids, actually having Rowan has helped me, because I'm staying focused on what I need to focus on. And I take breaks out, like pre-test, days I spend, all day studying, I'm taking breaks, because I still nurse him to sleep for his nap. And I still go out there. I got to see him. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I got to see him. So I'll go out there and feed him or something, and let them play with them afterwards. But so taking breaks with him has helped me, actually. So in certain ways, the kids help.
Yeah, right. I've heard that, better time management.
Yeah.
You're more efficient when you do study. And then I really think it's important to take those breaks, because literally you can't, your brain can only take so much studying to a certain extent, to where you just need to shut it off, because you can't retain. If you just keep trying to keep going and going when you're not mentally checked in, you're just not going to retain it. It's just a waste of your time. Yeah. So it's probably important that you do take breaks.
Right. So it's kind of the best of both worlds, because you have to take your breaks. It's good for your mental, reset a little bit, and then you get to see your babies.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's I'm glad you said that, because I've heard that before, but I'm glad to hear it again from someone else that it's true that you become better at time management with kids. You know, so you still get the work done, but it's just different. It's just different. You don't waste an hour playing Candy Crush, you know, or whatever I used to do. I don't even remember anymore because it was so long ago. But I know I had plenty of time that I wasted. But yeah, whenever I could, I would spend my time at the gym. I would actually take my notes to the gym and study a lot when I was in school. And I did that when I was in my undergrad. It just worked for me. I had an art trainer that wasn't bouncy that I could read my notes on.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but I mean, and then when I was home, my husband would cook and clean and make dinner, and I would eat dinner and study more and go to bed and then the weekends. So it's just kind of, you say no to a lot of people and family for events, which stinks, but it's temporary, like you said. And then, you know, by the end you could be like, hallelujah, I'm done. I did this. Now let's just start saying yes to everything.
Right. And you know, another thing, you know, this is going to be our hardest semester, right? This one coming up. And I was like, oh, I'm glad we're going to talk about this because I wanted to tell people, if you think, like, I'm going to be gone 5 days a week, and I was only gone 3 days last semester. And we're going to have some 4 a.m. mornings, you know what I mean, with the clinical.
Right.
And, but if you think about it, there are people, like tons of people that have 9-to-5 jobs. They do this. They do 9 to 5 every day, all day, forever. And they have kids. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So to think that I'm going to do that, you know, I'm going to be gone. I probably will be gone 9 to 3 or so, at least every day. And then, you know, my commute and then a clinical day. So I think my longest day is probably 8 to 5. But still, you know, that seems awful to me. You know, we're nurses. We like our 3
days a week. 12 hour shifts.
I don't do that 9 to 5 crap. But, no. But, so, I mean, people work that hard, you know, those kind of hours all day. I mean, they're not doing anesthesia school, you know, but still have that time is gone.
Done. Yeah,
that time is gone. You're away from your kids from that time. So, I mean, what?
Yeah, I mean, you do
the end goal, you know.
No, they're not gonna. I mean, long term, the kids themselves are not going to suffer. No. I mean, I had both parents that were like that were literally gone from like 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. every night growing up. My husband works 9 to 5. I mean, the kids are okay. They're still loved. They still get what they need. You know, they're in daycare a lot, but you know, they're going to be fine.
Exactly.
And then also, you know, when you get to be in clinical and you have the 4 a.m. days, and then I don't know if they've warned you or prepared you that you are sometimes expected to stay after your assigned shift. Sometimes you will have to finish a case or whatever it may be. But that can be hard too when you're anxious. You want to get out. You want to go home and see your little one, and then you're like, oh, but I have to stay to finish this case and extubate, and it's like, I'm gonna be here for another hour. I'm like, so sometimes that does happen. You know, not all the time, but can.
Luckily, I feel like, you know, I kind of anticipate that for sure. And, you know, I think back to the ICU days, you know, it wasn't nothing to be held up for an extra.
Mandated. I remember being mandated for 16-hour shifts.
Yeah.
That sucked. That's not just an hour over your shift. It was like a whole 4 hours. You were like, oh. So to, you know, this is only one clinical day a week, starting out. But I'll expect for that. Yeah, I mean, I think as a new SRNA, it won't be that bad, but as you become a senior, the expectations grow.
For sure.
So I mean, as you're a senior, they kind of expect you to, I mean, and as a new SRNA too, I think sometimes they expect you to want to stay for new learning experiences. You know, I kind of, but even as like some seniors too, it's like, well, I know they have their numbers. I know they have plenty of experience. It's cool. Just go home. Like we do work at a busy regional hospital where some of the students there are doing 30 blocks a day. I mean, this one student that was recently at Kaylee, she had 200 regional blocks, and she's been at our site for a month.
Wow. That's
it was insane.
Awesome.
She got hit so hard, and I'm like, oh my God. She was like, I don't want to do another regional block. She does not need any more blocks. So, I mean, if it got to be 2:30 p.m., if we kept her over till 3 o'clock to do more block, that would just be, in my opinion, a dick move. So I would never do that to her. But, like, if there's a student who maybe only had 5 blocks and it's 2:30 and you want to keep them till 3 o'clock to do that last block, then yes, we would keep them to that last block. Sure. But again, it's all relative. If you know your student has way more than what they need, they're proficient, they can run circles around you as a CRNA because they've done that many blocks, then they don't usually keep them. But yeah, so I mean, it just kind of depends on the situation, and also probably the CRNA. So
for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, so what other questions do you have for me as far as like clinicals go or anything like that?
Well, sorry, I'm like losing my mind today. I had another family member in the hospital today.
Oh no, I'm so sorry. Oh,
Yeah.
You had a rough week.
It's a real rough week. A rough week. I don't know. I don't know. I probably,
it's all good.
Watch, I'm going to message you 5 questions this week.
Please do. No, please do. Reach out to me whenever you need.
It's one of those things like before you start school, before you start clinical, it's kind of like, I don't know what I don't know yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh man.
You don't even know what you need to know
because
you just don't know.
I need to know. But normally I'm not okay with that. But this last semester I've learned that that's okay. You know what I mean?
I'm glad you said that because I don't know if this is maybe what you want to hear, but the majority of CRNA school is feeling like that.
Right.
Is you don't know what you're walking into, and you're not going to know until you just do it.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, partially that's kind of why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I remember as a student being terrified having an awake cranie or a sitting cranie or in a pelvic exoneration and being like, I have no one to reach out to. I have no idea what to expect. Right. I can only read so much in Jaffe, you know, I mean, Jaffe can only tell you so much. And I guess I'm going to have to wing it and get there really early and hope that I'm not like completely blasted with something, you know, but I remember being that fearful, and you kind of get used to it to where like by the time you're a senior, you're like, you're totally okay with flying by the seat of your pants. You're like, cool. What? And that's cool. You're nervous. Don't get me wrong, but you get used to that nervous feeling, and you just kind of go with it. But especially being new, reach out to me if you have questions. If you have a case like the next day that you're like, I don't know, do I need 2 IVs for this? Do I need 2 blood warmers? You know, what to really expect as far as like if you have some weird syndrome or something like that, reach out to me because I'd be happy to. If I know it, I'll help you, and if I don't know it, I'll find out. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, I mean, so I don't want to keep you any longer. I know it's getting late. I've had too much wine.
Good for you.
I'm drinking wine, waiting, and I'm like, oh God, I think I've had half a bottle. So I think it's time for you to like call it a night.
I know. I need to have a glass while I still can.
There you go.
I've got about 4 days left.
Drink it up. I mean, in fact, don't ever stop. You're going to have to drink a lot more to get through the program. So just be honest.
I hear you. I hear you.
Well, thank you, Amber, so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to watching you progress through the program and being here for you. So definitely let me know if you have any questions as you progress through. So. Oh,
I know I will.
Okay, good. And I wish you the best of luck with your family, and I hope the rest of this weekend can go smoothly for you.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good night.
You too.
All right, bye.
Bye.